Welcome back to Talk Tickers, everyone. Today, we're going to be dissecting AB InBev's Q3 earnings call.
Yeah, a brewing giant.
Yeah. You know, the makers of Budweiser.
Stella Artois.
Huge global company.
Huge global company. And, at first glance, their report might seem pretty celebratory, but when you dig a little deeper, there are definitely some shadows lurking there.
Yeah, a bit more somber than maybe a typical Halloween episode.
Yeah, and their performance, I think region by region, shows a very complex picture.
Absolutely. I mean, on the surface, they reported a 7.1% increase in EBITDA. They raised their full-year outlook. Now it's 6-8% growth. And then they also announced a $2 billion share buyback program.
But let's start with the good news, right? North America, at least, is holding strong.
Yeah, they saw a very impressive 13.7% EBITDA growth there with a margin improvement of 375 basis points. Very strong.
And Michelob Ultra and Busch Light are doing particularly well. Yeah, and I think that tells us a lot about consumer trends in the U.S. You've got Michelob Ultra, obviously. Lower carbs and calories. You know, people are watching their waistlines, they're being health conscious. And then you've got Busch Light, kind of a value-driven favorite.
But then we turn to China and things get a bit
flat.
Revenue there declined by 16.1%, and that's due to a softer consumer environment.
Yeah, consumers just not drinking as much out of home, which is obviously a problem for a company like AB InBev.
Well, and so, I mean, the big question is this a temporary blip in China, or is this a bigger shift in consumer behavior?
AB InBev is making bet on the long game here.
Right.
They're citing premiumization and brand loyalty as reasons to be optimistic, but only time will tell.
So now let's head south to the Middle Americas, and frankly, it's a mixed bag. Elections in Mexico and some strange weather patterns made for a turbulent Q3.
Yeah, real mixed bag. I mean, you see Mexico struggling because of some of these factors, but then you have Colombia booming with record sales. So
it's a good example of their global reach.
Exactly.
One market's down, the other one picks up the slack.
Exactly. One area can compensate for the other.
And speaking of contrasting performance, Brazil is a fascinating case. The overall beer market there is healthy.
Yeah.
But they are facing a tough battle within that market.
Well, it's really a tale of two markets. At the lower end, you have this intense price competition.
Right.
But in the premium and super premium segments, AB InBev seems to be winning, particularly with brands like Corona.
Well, and so this premiumization strategy, I want to dig a little deeper into that because that seems to be a core part of their plan, not just in Brazil, but globally.
Yeah, it's a global strategy.
So what are the potential risks and rewards with that approach?
Well, I mean, the potential reward is pretty clear, right? Higher profit margins.
Right.
Premium brands command higher prices, which, of course, leads to bigger profits, even if you sell fewer units, right?
Right.
But the risk is alienating those price-sensitive consumers who might just switch to cheaper alternatives. And, in this world where economic uncertainty is kind of on the rise, that's a delicate balancing act.
So it's a gamble, but one that they seem willing to take.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's this other interesting element to their growth strategy, this digital platform called BES.
Right.
And they're connecting retailers and suppliers, and it's already making waves.
Yeah, I mean, BES, it's fascinating. In China, it's already this huge, massive platform. It covers over 300 cities and accounts for 70% of their revenue in China. But what's really interesting is the growth beyond AB InBev products. Their marketplace for non-AB InBev goods is now a $2.5 billion business, growing at a rate of 50%. So
this is not just a way to sell more beer.
No.
This is a major e-commerce player in its own right.
Yeah, they're moving beyond beverages.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the potential of this platform.
So how does it work? Like, for those of us who aren't familiar with BES, can you kind of give us a breakdown?
Sure. So imagine a platform that combines the best of Amazon for retailers and Shopify for suppliers. Right. So BES provides retailers with this streamlined way to order products, to manage inventory, even to access financing. And at the same time, it gives suppliers a really powerful channel to reach a vast network of retailers, to track sales data, and to just manage their business more efficiently.
So it's really powerful, and it's like they're building an entire ecosystem within the beverage industry and now expanding beyond that.
Exactly. It's a really interesting counterpoint to this whole focus on premiumization, right? It's almost like they're playing both ends of the field.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes AB InBev such a fascinating company to to look at right now. They're trying to balance these traditional strengths with cutting-edge innovation, and they're doing it, on this global scale, navigating a very complex global landscape. It's a high-wire act, but they seem determined to pull it off.
We've got a lot more ground to cover, so stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into AB InBev's Q3 earnings call right after this.
Yeah, it really is a high-wire act.
And they're walking it.
Oh, yeah.
But let's not forget, they did announce that $2 billion share buyback program.
Right.
And they raised their full-year EBITDA outlook.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty bold moves considering all the challenges that we just talked about.
Those are definitely moves that raise eyebrows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a share buyback can boost stock prices in the short term, and bumping up that EBITDA outlook, it signals confidence to investors.
Right.
But are those moves a sign of genuine strength, or are they, maybe a way to mask some of the underlying concerns? It's really hard to say for sure.
It's like reading tea leaves in a hurricane.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that are sometimes hard to decipher,
Right.
the earnings call transcript also mentioned their sustainability initiatives.
Yeah.
They're making progress on reducing emissions and improving water efficiency.
Yeah, that's an important point, right? For a global company like AB InBev, sustainability isn't just about good PR anymore. It's really becoming a crucial part of their financial performance as well. Consumers are demanding it. Investors are increasingly looking at these ESG factors, environmental, social governance factors, when they're making decisions.
So for AB InBev, it's not just about doing the right thing. It's about doing the smart thing.
Exactly. It's good for the bottom line.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned with these financial moves that maybe they're trying to project this image of strength. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, share buybacks, like we said, they can artificially inflate stock prices, even if the underlying business isn't performing as well as it might seem. And then raising that EBITDA outlook, while it could be based on some solid projections, could also be a tactic to kind of instill confidence in investors and, maybe distract from some of the headwinds that they're facing.
So they're putting lipstick on a pig?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But I think it's crucial for investors to look beyond the surface and really analyze the dopper trends here.
Right.
Are those share buybacks sustainable in the long run?
Right.
Is that raised EBITDA outlook based on real solid growth strategies, or are they just kind of hoping for the best? I mean, those are the questions that we need to be asking.
And I think those are the questions that we're asking here on Talk Tickers.
Exactly.
We're uncovering a lot during this deep dive.
A lot to unpack.
Strong performance in North America, concerns in China, a mixed bag in the Middle Americas, this gamble on premiumization in Brazil. And then plus you've got the rise of BES and these financial moves that could be strategic. They could be, a little bit misleading. Who knows? It's enough to make your head spin.
It's a complex picture,
Yeah.
But I think by dissecting these different elements, we can really start to understand the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead for AB InBev.
And that's what we're all about here on Talk Tickers, breaking down these complexities of these earnings calls.
Yeah.
So you, our listeners, can make more informed decisions.
It's about understanding the story behind the numbers, and in this case, the story is far from over.
Right.
AB InBev is at a crossroads, and the decisions that they make in the coming months and years are going to determine whether they can navigate this really challenging global landscape.
All right, listeners, we've really journeyed through this AB InBev Q3 earnings report, and it's been quite a wild ride, right? We've seen these soaring successes and then some concerning dips, some strategic moves that could really make or break their future. But what does it all mean for you? Whether you're an investor, a beer enthusiast, or just someone who's curious about the global economy, there's some key takeaways here.
I think it boils down to this. AB InBev is at a crossroads. I mean, they're a global powerhouse, no doubt, but they are facing some serious challenges that could shake their very foundation. It all comes down to their ability to adapt, to innovate, and really execute their strategies to determine whether they sink or swim.
So what should we be watching for? What are those key indicators that will tell us whether they're on the right track?
I think, first and foremost, keep an eye on China. Can they reignite growth in that market? Or will that slowdown continue to drag them down? I think that's the big question.
Yeah, and beyond China, I'm really curious to see how that premiumization strategy plays out globally. Can they really convince consumers to trade up to those higher-priced brands, especially when there's so much economic uncertainty? It's a gamble, but it can pay off big.
It could, but it's not just about slapping a higher price tag on a beer. They need to create these really compelling brands and experiences that justify those premium prices. Think, innovative flavors, unique partnerships, marketing that really speaks to a sense of exclusivity and aspiration.
And let's not forget about BES. It's not just a side project anymore. This is a potential game changer. Can they leverage this platform to really become a dominant force in e-commerce, and not just within the beverage industry, but beyond? If they can, that could be a massive driver of future growth.
It's a fascinating case study, BES, in digital transformation. It shows how this traditional company can really embrace technology to streamline operations, reach new markets, and create these entirely new revenue streams. And it's a story that's really just beginning, and it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds.
So there you have it, folks. A global giant at a pivotal moment, making bold bets and facing down some serious challenges. It's a story that goes far beyond beer. It's a glimpse into the forces that are shaping the global economy and the consumer landscape.
And as always, we encourage you to stay informed, stay curious, and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions, because in a world of uncertainty, knowledge is power.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into AB InBev's Q3 earnings call. Thanks for joining us here on Talk Tickers, where we break down the complexities of earnings calls and help you make sense of the market. Until next time, stay informed and stay thirsty for knowledge.